Sand Springs Board of Education meeting for March 6th. So roll call, please.
Mullen,
Here.
Noble,
Here.
Wagers, here, Wagner, here, again.
Here. Please stand and join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. We have on our agenda each month the opportunity for the public to be heard. If there are some guidelines with that, we have to sign in, and we have no one. So seeing that, we will move forward to really the really fun part of our agenda, where we get to recognize people for outstanding accomplishments through Spirit Awards and Pacesetter Awards. So we first have a Spirit Award. Michaela, that's you. That's Jackie Wagner. Just want to hear about that.
I'm excited to introduce Michaela. Is it
Crown over.
right over? Come on up. She has been awarded the Outstanding Debate Student for the state of Oklahoma, and she will be competing nationally in Dallas. Is that right? In Dallas. And on top of that, there are only 8 finalists across the United States. So this is huge. And on top of that, the whole debate team has faced challenges this year. They were a little slow getting off the block, but Miss Andrea Canfield stepped up and they have done incredible, and as exemplified by Ms. Cronover here. So tell me a little bit about going to Dallas and what you and do you have your topic? Do they tell you what you're?
Unfortunately, I did not win Debater of the Year, which I am extremely honored just to even be nominated. I'm the first female. I am the first Oklahoman to be nominated and make it to finals, which was an accomplishment for not just me, but for the state of Oklahoma. And I am just proud of myself and proud of the program that Sand Springs has been giving me the opportunity to grow and flourish and become the best me I can be.
Job.
So were you at the program showcase?
Yeah.
Okay, so they had a table, Ms. Wagner, at the program showcase at Charles Page High School, and they were all absolutely given Andrea Canfield like lots of kudos for taking the program, and she's done an amazing job. Well, so congratulations, and I'm proud of you.
The Sandite Spirit Award, which for outstanding achievements and accomplishments in representing Sand Springs schools in the community at large, and a Schlotsky's gift card.
Thank you.
Right.
Wagers, you have our next award.
I have Nate Bolt. Is that right? Bolte. It's Nate Bolt.
Okay, Nate has been chosen as an Oklahoma Academic All-State for 2023.
It's awarded annually by the Oklahoma Foundation for Excellence and recognizes the top 100 high school seniors in the state of Oklahoma. We are very, very proud of you. This is the Spirit Award to Nate Bolte for outstanding achievements and accomplishments in representing Sand Springs Public Schools in the community at large. Think beyond. And of course, Schlotsky.
I know that they're both Charles Page High School students. Mr. Trout is in the audience. I don't know if you'd like to add a few comments about these kids.
Yeah, just incredible. Michaela, just when you have a combination of talent and commitment, it's just unstoppable. She was one of the students who was in my office every day at the first 2 weeks of school. We couldn't find a coach until Miss Campfield stepped up, and I was just, man, the commitment of these kids, I was feeling a lot of pressure. And thank goodness the day that Andrea Canfield stepped up and said, I'm willing to take this on. And what's interesting about these two is Michaela's chosen area of excellence at Charles Page High School is one of the oldest things that we do. Very old traditional thing, debate. I don't know if you've heard this around, Michaela, but we are the first debate high school in the state of Oklahoma. We had the first debate program in the state of Oklahoma. And then Nate, his area of excellence, he's got many, but is one of the newest things that we do, the Project Lead the Way Biomedical and Engineering, not biomedical, but engineering. And if you'll remember, he's the guy who designed the Fetal Heart, which is a teaching tool at St. Francis Hospital. So you're seeing just the full evolution and the full range of everything that we do. And I couldn't be prouder of these two guys, for sure.
So just so you know, Nate handed me a card before the meeting, which I promptly read because it's got 3 of yours, so I thought I'd return this favor. It's the coolest thing ever. That will go in my top forever. So thank you for that. It's amazing.
Unbelievable kids.
Thank you.
I get the privilege of giving out the next award, and this is a Pacesetter Award, which is for outstanding achievements and accomplishments of representing Sand Springs Public Schools community at large. It's really cool. One of our administrators from the middle school has received an award from another school district because of previous work, and that's pretty significant that a senior in high school recognized Miss Angelina Noel as her favorite teacher along the way. And now as a senior has just brought about that recognition to her. She was called back, I think, to get to go and
Oh, I didn't know what this was for.
well, it's obviously you do great work here in our community, but just to know that you've had an influence and impact all through the years of your educational career and your investment in students. So we had this picture of her with that student that you were her second grade teacher. Is that what I mean?
Yes, first and second.
First and second grade teacher, and made that impact that now she chose you as her favorite teacher at Kellyville schools. And so just the outstanding work that you continue to do for students and always impacting their lives in such an incredible way. I know you've impacted my kids' lives, all this. They've gone through schools that you've been leading at and teaching at. And so we are just grateful to have teachers like you who really love our kids and are doing great. So anything you'd like to add to that?
Just, I was the nominate. I have to admit it. But when another superintendent from a different district emails me specifically to say, hey, by the way, you have a principal who's not been in Kellyville for a long time ago, 10 years, and she's coming to Kellyville, coming home, not leaving. She lives here, so home is here, but to come and spend that evening with this kiddo that remembered you as a teacher. So not only were you an impactful teacher, you continue to be an impactful administrator. So
I have great mentors. I appreciate it. No, I had no idea what this was for. I told the kids that my best told me to come. And what that says to do it, you just do it.
Well, it's for being awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. That's what I'm just.
Come on. Hope that-
Thank you.
I think Mr. Mullins has the bulk of the rest of our awards.
A lot of, which is cool, because what we have seen so far tonight is the love, I'm not gonna do it here because there's so many of us. The love and the compassion and the concerns that we have in Sand Springs. And our staff, our teachers, our community does a wonderful job of teaching kids. But what this story shows is that sometimes we get opportunities to do things outside of our comfort zone, and we step up and we make it happen. And it's all about kids. I promise. I'm going to ask Mose and Tanya Richardson and Waters Dane, Mila, please, the young one could come up too, because I could read what Tanya and Mose wrote, but I would much rather Tanya and Mila share what happened and the love and the compassion and that they have with the teacher staff. And then what we'll do after that is I'm gonna ask each one of them to come up and again, it's the Sand Knight Pacesetter Award. And read what it says, it's for outstanding achievements and accomplishments in representing Sand Springs Public Schools and the community at large. Says, think beyond. I promise you, this group that we're going to recognize thinks beyond. So please, Tanya, share with you what happened.
I'm a little nervous, so I didn't know I was gonna be talking, so. So on January 3rd, this is our daughter Mila. On January 3rd, she had a medical event where she lost consciousness coming in from recess. And there was a hall full of children, from what I hear. and I'm sure the teachers could explain it better than I am. I'm just relaying what happened. She was down for quite a while, and there were 8 teachers in particular that responded in different ways. Coach Corbin and Mrs. Hobson obviously were leaders in the group. Brooklyn was right there by Mila's side the whole time, making sure 911 was called. There were teachers that just loved on our children, our daughter. Mrs. Carter, just, I can't. There were so many amazing things that happened that day. I know that the kids were all shaken up, because, I mean, I don't know, everybody loves Mila. She's just a very, just fun little kid. But I'm trying to think of everybody. So Mrs. Wilden came in and gathered all the children out of the hall. Sarah Matherly was not there in the moment, but has been like by my side every day with her in Brooklyn, making sure Mila gets vitals. She's had issues since then, so they've been there every day communicating with me. So I have stuff to take to the doctors. Mrs. Forrester, Mrs. Kassler, after the event, the rest of the class was so worked up that the next day they were asked to journal about what happened, and the teachers explained how every child handles trauma and scary situations differently. So there was just so much like more than just that event, but just teaching the kids tolerance and so many amazing things. So I wrote just the trio of 4th grade teachers are the most wonderful, loving, and caring group of teachers, and their love for their students is seen far and wide. The day after the incident, the students were tasked with writing about how they felt, and they also discussed how every person handles traumatic and stressful events differently. They are teaching far above and beyond textbooks, teaching them love, compassion, and understanding. So, thank you.
We take care of kids in Santa Cruz. We teach them, we love on them, we take care of them. Thank you for sharing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cry.
Thank you.
It was just very emotional.
Only because it's their job of singing and she is a wonderful.
Yes, if you
singer.
asked me to come up here and sing, I could sing.
I want to do this. I want to ask the teachers, the staff to come up and we'll get this, then we're gonna pick it up. Brooklyn Zickafoos. Jerry Carter. Angela Hobson. Chris Corbin. Why don't you say Chris's to him tomorrow? Here you go. Stephanie Forster. Casey Wilden. Another one. Aaron Kassler. And Sarah Matherly. You want to share something as well?
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? This smile, I mean, isn't it beautiful? So she made all this t-shirts and she put a little special heart on it. And then she has her nickname inside the heart. It says Mayhem. So, the greatest gift and recognition is your health and well-being. While we are up here proud and happy, our greatest joy is the smile that we see tonight. Okay. All right. And this family is wonderful. This is not anything that we wake up every morning and say, well, this, what do we do? This team just went into action, and the beautiful part is everyone stayed calm and they stayed focused on the patient, and we get to celebrate that smile tonight.
Very good, guys. Oh, wait, you gotta. Yes.
That's what he's in.
All right. 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, good job.
We have so much to celebrate in Sand Springs Public Schools. None of it happens without us being in compliance with state laws and federal laws and doing due diligence in the government of our schools. And so the rest of our agenda is dealing with all of those things. And we would just be elated if you'd stay and listen to all of that, but we don't expect you to. And if you come in for one of the awards or to observe that, you're welcome to find the exit doors. We won't think badly of you.
Thank you very much.
I know it's the cute. All the time.
I'm good at clearing the room, baby. I have done it again. All right, we shall move on to item 6 in our agenda, which is reviewing the instructional strategies in alignment with our continuous strategic improvement plan for our district, student empowerment and staff empowerment.
So I could,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gunn, do we need to move on to 33 for this gentleman
we
to?
do have Zach Robinson here, so.
We don't mind.
We're on item 6 and you're 33.
Yeah.
There's a consent agenda. You know how hard it is to get a consent between this?
Well, can I just say, honestly, we've done this resolution a dozen times or more, well, many, many, many times over the years, but I've never had anyone show up from our consultation firm to be here for the resolution. So Zach needs some kudos because he's driving from Norman, am I right? Edmond. Anyway, so it's a long drive is my point. So, and he's here.
I'll do whatever you want. But I would say it would be okay to move that up, there's no objection. And then, you know, if you want to stay for the rest of the items.
That's it. That applies.
So we'll move to item 33 out of this consideration for the drive. Yes.
Thank you very much, obviously. It's great to be here. So this is the action item that will start the bond sale process. So you as a board have to first authorize the sale of bonds. And so this year, and I believe that you have a copy of the resolution in your packets, but this year's sale is for $8,500,000. These bonds will be comprised of $2,325,000 for the 2009 election and $6,175,000 for 2019. So we combine those for sale, so you just have to pay all of these ones, basically. Save you some money there. So we're going to issue these bonds in June, but first to sell the bonds, the bids will be due at 9:30 a.m. on April 12th. There's a special meeting that day at noon where I will present the bids to you for the award. So this is just the authorizing sale process. It's a required action item by you. And again, $8,500,000. These will be 5-year bonds. And so we can't pay principal in year one. That's just state law. So it'll be 4 installments of $2,125,000 in years 2, 3, 4, 5. So we do that to keep our bonds as short as we can, get the bonds on and off the tax rolls, interest costs as low as we can, in accordance with your financing plan. So that's what's in the resolution. Bids are due 9:30 a.m. on April 12th. I'm happy to answer any questions.
David, we have a meeting. Zach, you will have a bid
Yes, sir.
tabulation form for us with all.
Yes, sir. So oftentimes the bids will be kind of an online submission. So I was gonna head over that morning, kind of set up shop if they'll have me and kind of, you know, see all the bids as they, because everyone will, most of the bidders will wait until like 1 minute before, just because the market's constantly changing. And so they'll wait till the very end and then they'll submit that bid. Makes me nervous because I'm like, where the bid? But I'll provide a tab that day at noon, so you can see all the bids and all the varying, you know, the interest costs for each of the bidders, and then we'll obviously award to the lowest interest cost to you on the bonds.
not a lot of other ones bidding that particular time.
There are competitive sales throughout the country all the time, every day, you know, I would say almost. Fridays are probably the least bid day just because, it's just, some people are, you know, out of the office. Even if there are multiple sales in a morning for, you know, Oklahoma bonds, I've never seen it impact the sales. I think there's a good demand for bonds at the moment right now, so we're optimistic for a good sale in April.
Any other questions or discussion, then I would entertain a motion to approve item 33.
Make the motion to approve item 33 is stated.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Well, vote.
Call for vote.
Mullen,
Um,
Novel,
Uh,
Lakers,
Aye.
Wagon,
Hi.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Start that too.
You can stay though, if you'd like.
Pressure.
There's no thing. Or drive safe, or drive safe.
drives like you can drive.
Now we can go back to item number 6.
So there's some things to talk about, obviously, because you have items there, but I just have to say, after that display, what research has said, through the training that I've had recently, the one thing kids need and parents want from their schools is to keep them safe. Number one. And I just love it. I mean, can't 100% guarantee everybody's always going to see all the time. But the way our staff react, I'm probably more proud, honestly, of that story than any others, because that is what parents want. They want to make sure that when they go to school, they trust us to make sure their kids get through the day and have a safe day. And that's what we do. So I just need to say that up front, because I'm
I
really.
hate to put on you on the spot, but she told it much better than I could.
Oh, 100%. I know that was hard for her because she gets emotional, and so do I, but that was a really tense day. I think Noel left, or Hobson left, but I remember getting the phone call, and your adrenaline runs, and then when it's over, you have this period just kind of, oh man. And Hobson will tell the story of having Maya and in a calming way in her office, just going through some procedures to help her stay calm. And so just the skill set that these people show in not only attending to the medical need, but also the anxiety that comes with it is astronomical. And so that's the best story that you'll ever hear about student empowerment. It's pretty amazing. However, there's a couple of things that is worthy of saying out loud in public. One would be the Perkins monitoring document. As you know, we get monitored on just about everything. And that one says that we're in compliance, which is a simple term that we do cartwheels for. So Mr. Biven administers that particular grant. And again, finding in compliance is what we want. So preparing for the student testing season as we speak. Mr. Roder's in the back doing all the testing schedules and getting capture of what we need to do in April. And so that's a task in and of itself. So he's doing a great job in that. 8th grade, you probably noticed an event where 8th grade students did kind of prepare for pre-enrollment for 9th grade. And parents were able to come to CPHS to find out what's going on in high school, understand the programs. We had a program showcase a week or so ago. Unbelievable, because the kids actually are there to show projects that they've worked on. And it's pretty cool to watch people come in and see what we have hands-on. So that's cool. They were even drawing blood from a dummy that night, which looked pretty real in biomed. It's just amazing.
Nice turnout with that 9th grade.
Oh, yeah, they come. So they're doing PALs right now. Stan just left as well, but parent teacher conference is the first time it's tonight. And the high school, what that looks like is literally trying to reach every single parent to make sure they understand what classes their kids have chosen, going through to make sure they understand the pathway they're on and how productive that is for their students. And I asked Stan last week, I said, we've had 100% participation at those before. He said on average about 92% of parents participate. They may not show up in person, but they're in a phone call or a Google Meet meeting engaged, which is pretty incredible for a secondary school, especially a high school, where kids are pretty much on their own. So they do a great job. Everybody has a Pals advisor, and they really try hard to individualize and be personal with each kid and their parents. So it's really good. Evaluations came back from our professional development day last week. Gosh, it seems like it was just a month ago. I'm getting great feedback. Sean created a schedule event, so they've got sessions that they can attend to. Most of them are self-taught, meaning our own teachers are doing the training, which is great. Marla. What's her first name? Monica, thank you. Came, offered for free, by the way, to do estate planning with our teachers. So she had 4 sessions. Oh gosh,
Yeah, there were
4 sessions and for free. And she was helping our staff understand what estate planning is, how you prepare for that. And I thought that was a good service that she was providing for folks. So it was great. That's really great feedback on that. Questions?
No questions. We will move on to item 7, resource innovation.
So legislative goals, I included our USSA goals for 2023. I typically don't share those. I don't really know why, but that's for a United Suburban School Superintendents. David Pennington is the executive director of that organization. It's a smaller group because it's the metro and the suburban area, the larger districts. I felt like it was maybe important in this piece of time because there are some discrepancies we're seeing with legislation regarding school funding. And I think I've shared with you and my concerns as such before. So I thought it was important to share USSA legislative goals. The funding package that passed the House includes a $300 million allocation to schools. Again, it's in, we have no idea how that will come out, but it did pass the full House, and larger districts were capped at 2 million, which means our per pupil is less than some of our smaller colleagues. So just something to be aware of. So, there's a lot of discussion, I'm sure, and debate going on legislatively and time will tell how that'll all pan out. But there were some concerns I had about the legislation that's going through now. Don't get me wrong, thankful for extra money. There is no doubt, but equity is always a big concern for me.
The House bill has not been heard on the Senate.
That's correct.
Do you know when that might be?
You'll get a message from OSSBA, I'm sure. I think there's probably some bargaining going on about pieces that they like, pieces that maybe they don't like so much. And so I think it's really too early to tell how that's going to pan out. So just kind of keep your eyes wide open and make sure you're communicating with our folks. We have 6 legislators that represent Sand Springs now. And so I've had, honestly, the good news is they're responding and they're answering back and asking questions. So that's always a positive thing. Vernon Floritz's newsletter, of course, OASA, mostly Daryl Glover, I think, and Pam Deering. Big takeaways, at least in my mind, from that particular newsletter. It's gotten longer, by the way, as COSA is taking that over. But the revenue projection from the Board of Equalization's December number is decreased. That's something we need to be aware of, because if we don't collect the revenue that we think that we're going to collect over the next given year, that means that affects district's state aid allocation. And so just something that you need to know about. That and the fact that inflation continues to be worrisome. You know this, you're living it every day in your own personal life with groceries and other things. Well, from a larger scale of the district, we're doing the same thing. So just planning accordingly. We know our federal COVID relief dollars go away at the end of fiscal year 24. I think we have till September of 24 to actually spend them, but most of ours were for one-time purchases, which helps us. But we do have some salaries that we're staying focused on. And I know we have a couple of people that really vie for keeping those folks that we were able to hire because we had some extra money. Our enrollment's up, which helps our ability to keep those people. So just more to come on that. We carefully stay in tune to that every month. Let's see. Attached an op-ed written by Pam Deering, who's the executive director of COSA. That's our admin organization that helps us keep apprised of all of the things that we need to know. I thought it was cool. Pam chose Sand Springs to drop into that op-ed. It went into the Oklahoma City paper. And so it's not because I sit on that executive board at all. It really is about innovative programming, and I felt pretty good about that being in the Oklahoma City paper. So I thought that was great in terms of getting Sand Springs out there. So any questions about finance, facilities?
If not, we will move to item number 8, empowering families and communities.
Safe, that is blank, and boy, I left that one out, but let me just say, I put no notes there in front of me. But a couple things, and I think that give credit to Charles Page High School for making sure families know about enrollment. That's a big thing with community. I say this down in the safe schools, but I feel the need to say it here. One of the things that we are eyeing is a drug awareness for parents, some sort of parent forum. We will be holding assemblies at the high school on Thursday, 2 of them, to talk about the dangers of vape, specifically dab pens, because we know there have been instances where they've been laced with fentanyl. We've had no occurrence in our district that I'm aware of. However, neighboring schools have. And so I believe BA may have been the first one to do a student assembly, but we're partaking. Mr. Trout is allowing parents to opt out. I can't imagine why a parent would want to opt out of that information, because it's critical, especially with kids that might be dabbling in things that they shouldn't be dabbling in, because it is dangerous. I was sitting at a breakfast with Representative Stairs, and 2 moms showed up at Old Time Cafe downtown. And both of them are moms from actually California that had moved to Oklahoma, and both of them had lost their kids due to a fentanyl overdose. So we are now keeping Narcan at the school side secondary. When you enroll, those of you that have kids who do pre-enrollment, you'll get a form that gives us permission to actually administer that. It's the anecdote for fentanyl, so that if a student is possibly having a reaction, that's a drug we can administer without any harmful effects to the kid, that gets them back into consciousness pretty immediately. So that's a coup, and thank Lindsay Singville, honestly, because she's done a lot of legwork on that piece. So we're trying really hard to keep our parents informed, to make sure they're aware of things that we see in school. State question 820 is up for election tomorrow for a vote. I'm not going to give you opinion either way. You do what you want. People need to vote how they please. I will say we are seeing dab pens in schools. They look much like this, and it's really hard to detect what they are, and it's just a quick vape. It's become more prevalent. You know that we have vape detectors at Clyde Boyd Middle School, are looking at that for the high school as well. That's been helpful. And I don't want to say we have a huge vape problem, but what I am saying is those that are doing it, there's concentrated groups that are. And so we need to be honest about that and make sure our folks know. So, that kind of is about empowering families and community, but it's also about safety, which is item number 9.
Move into that. Good transition.
Excellent. That's one question, I'm sorry, and I tried to look this up and I didn't. What is it? DAP pen? What are you
Dab
talking
pen, it looks
about?
like
I'm
an
not game,
pen,
so I don't know.
but it's a vape. And so,
It's one shot.
yeah, well, I couldn't tell you the contents on that, if you 1 or 2, somebody else might know, but it's super easy to bring it in the classroom because it's hard to detect that they have them.
It's a single head THC vape.
Tina,
Okay.
single hit, I guess.
THC vape pen.
You know what THC is, right?
Yeah,
Voting that tomorrow, right?
it's
I
scary.
ended up with a whole collection of them when I taught in Owasso, because I had so many students that tried to sneak them into class.
Well, and interesting,
Wanted them to
it's
go.
so funny, it's not funny, but the things that it brings up, so I'm head at an administrators meeting, and there's a bill that Oklahoma City Public Schools is promoting. And it's the ability for an administrator to carry those on them to the police department, because ultimately, if you have that, you're in possession. And so that's a big deal. Tim Ray has a desk full of those sometimes. And so we have Carmen, Will Carmen, who's on campus that can transport those out. But a lot of times the goal is to get them into drug treatment or parent awareness, not necessarily to arrest them. Because we're in the business of helping kids and helping them get better, not sometimes being, adverse punishment. So it's a real trick, and when you have things that enter into the school, it sounds like it's a simple kind of fix or problem, and you just have no idea how it affects everything that you do. So anyway, that's a real thing we're trying really hard.
What was associated with that, like it was vape?
It's vape. It looks like fog, I guess. It's hard to detect. And it's not like nicotine and cigarettes. You don't smell it necessarily, but I will tell you the vape detectors go up just like that. So even with that, it's not super easy to catch them in a group of kids in the bathroom. So just know our people are on it, doing the best they can, but I think parents also need to be superbly aware of the dangers of that. And if you'd seen those moms that were wearing the t-shirts of this organization, nonprofit they created, I can't remember the tagline, but it was something and then a number, and the number symbolized the age at which their child passed. And so, talk to a mom or two, and it sure makes you really thoughtful about making sure people are aware. So, and then the committee meeting is there, the Safe Schools Committee. There's a lot on the agenda. Just want you always like for you to see those things that are discussed at our committee meetings and understand sides, take those back from the district committee and make sure their sites are aware as well. So, question.
No discussion. Now we'll move to the consent agenda.
Consent agenda items that may look a bit different than what you're used to. So item number 15 is not really different. We play stipends all the time, but I did want to bring out science and reading training, which is now required as of last legislative season, I believe. So that's what that's about. Item number 19, letter C, Mr. Noggle brought that to our attention last time. I just want to reiterate, graduation is at LRU May 20th. By the way, that's the same night as the Foundation of Excellence. I'm pretty sad about it because Barbie Jackson will be getting her Medal of Excellence, and Nate Bolte will also be getting his that night. So I think I heard Nate was going to try to go to the banquet and slip into graduation. So he's getting honored two things the same night. That's wonderful. Item number 21, you're going to start seeing resignations, you guys. I know. We have.
I'm sorry, is 20-something new, or have they done this before?
20 something, out of state travel, they've done it before. Yeah, Steve
No.
did that last year. Yeah,
Are they camping out?
they're camping out. Yeah. It's item number 20, it's student walk leadership hike. It's a leadership camp that Steve takes them on every year. Mr. Purdue. We have 4 teachers on the agenda, and item number 21, retiring. Not that that's different than what we usually have, except that you see people like Vicky Harbaugh, and I just grimace that she deserves more than anyone for sure to go, enjoy retirement. But there are some other, resignations as well. Janice Marr, one of our counselors, longtime counselors, she's the freshman academy now, but spent years at Page Academy. She's also retiring. So just kind of pay attention to those folks that have been around a while and have decided to go. Let's see. Capacity report, again, not new, item number 27. You'll see that every quarter. Again, not new, but kind of new. This is the first year we've been doing that. Item number 28 is a grant written by Ms. Hayes, our Director of Transportation. Pretty excited about our people writing some grants, but this is to reimburse the cost of vehicles electric, right? I'm gonna let you talk.
Actually, these are just clean diesel vehicles, so it will give us approximately 25% per vehicle for the purchase of those vehicles, thereby just reducing the expense. So the last time that we went through this process, a vehicle was approximately $107,000, and they have gone up to $149,000. So we're looking at purchasing 2 vehicles, which will be before the board next month. And this grant will help to fix that difference.
Offsets it by 71,000.
71,000, approximately 35 per vehicle.
So it's always great to kind of talk about openly people in our district that try to help us financially by seeking out grants. Which brings me to item number 29. This is the one I feel like I mentioned last time we met that was initiated by Nancy Ogle. This is an interlocal agreement between us and the city for not just one resource officer that the city splits, but in this one, we'll be able to hire 2 police officers, one of which will be paid in full by the grant that our team wrote. So, number one, we're getting an additional resource in a police officer in partnership with the city, but secondly, at no real cost to our district, and that grant will be a 3-year. So we'll have that money for 3 consecutive years. So proud of our team. I think we're all headed in the same direction, definitely rowing our boat the same way, and it feels good to get people that really understand the financial benefit of getting more resource sources in the classroom through grants. Just want to bring that to your attention.
Any questions or concern, discussion for the consent agenda?
Just a question about upcoming events. Do we have a date for Page Academy graduation?
Oh, probably. Sean, are you aware of the date? We probably do, actually, but I don't have it down. Do you have?
Steve wasn't sure. He was shoring things out. Remember last time we talked to with the location.
Oh, that's true. Okay, you're right about that. I forgot about that. So I will get that to you all as soon as I know. Yep.
Did I understand Ms. Hayes to say that we're buying electric buses?
I thought that was, but apparently not. I was wrong about that.
So we did apply for an electric bus grant, but only about 3 schools. So it was lottery approximately 3 schools in Oklahoma did receive that. We're still on the list for that possibility. And it would cover the full price of an electric bus. So there's some caveats to that. It would cover the full price plus $20,000, but the infrastructure is really truly more like $60,000 investment, which is still less than $149,000 of a bus. So we're just not there yet, but this is a clean diesel. We have to scrap the 2 buses completely and show proof that these 2 old buses will not be in operation ever again.
By drilling a hole in the block.
And we have to show proof of that to the state. Yes.
I think when I heard the word clean, it made me think of that, but I'm correct. So maybe someday, I hope. Give it a shot.
All right, I entertain a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Can we call for a vote, please?
Mullins,
Aye.
Noggle,
Right.
Wagers. Aye. Wyman. Aye.
Item 30 is a proposed executive session, to discuss employment recommendations. Do we see any need for that? Any of that motion? If not, we'll move to item 31, which is to approve the proposed employment recommendations. Obtain that motion.
I will make the motion that we approve the employment recommendations.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Call for a vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Noggle,
Aye.
Wagers.
Aye.
Wyman. Gann.
Aye. Item 32, proposed approval to add new policy to the district policy manual. Item A and B, would you like to speak to those?
Those are both second read. The first one, A, is just the protocol for what we do in a mental health crisis. So just give you step by step. The second is about student transfers, and we're asking to change the date for receiving transfers from originally we had March 1st from last year, but because the transfer portal doesn't open up at the State Department until July 1, that means people were sitting on a list for a long time getting pretty antsy. So we're the only change in that policy is to June 1 from March 1st. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about the mental health protocol? Because does that come from OSSBA that we run it ourselves? The reason I ask is because it talks in here about adults and parents, and I was just concerned, are we going to have the opportunity or will we, with this policy, will we be asked to help out parents? Yes.
Well, here's the thing, maybe the other part of that is because we contract with Daybreak anyway,
Mhm.
it's
Already happening.
it's already happening. But the other part we really need to hone in on, mental crisis is great when we're in an acute situation with a kid at school. But the truth is to have that help the child, it has to be like an approach with the family. And so we don't really handle those singularly. It's bigger than just, I had this meltdown today. It's usually bigger. So the answer is yes. Yeah.
Any other discussion on that? Not, we would entertain the motion to approve those two policies together.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for vote, please.
Owens.
Aye.
Knobel.
Aye.
Winters. Aye. Wagner. Karen.
We're down to item 33, so moving to item 34, any matters not known about which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the posting of this meeting.
There is not.
Any announcements?
I just need some help at our, we just next month at the OSSBA region meeting. If you guys so desire me to continue in that position, I'd like somebody to make a nomination and see if we get a second from another school.
To sit on that board. Yeah. Which, by the way, thank you for sitting on that board. Again, we're trying to get our name out. It helps to have he's Jay is sitting on a math consortium at the State Department of Ed right now. A math that they're, what are you doing?
It's called the Launch Years Initiative. It's looking at the math pathways at the collegiate level and looking at what we can do at the K through 12 area to help build college readiness into those pathways as like a transition math course and things like that.
Anytime they ask me, you think I should? I'm like, yes, you should. And it's interesting how Sean's sitting on one, two, I don't know if they're thrilled about it. Jay is, and then I'm on the governing board for AASA nationally.
Is on a national.
National board. It's pretty exciting, actually. But getting our name out for name recognition is really about congruently what we do as a pack to make sure we're sharing our story. So good stuff.
All right, any announcements?
You can embarrass Jennifer Hayes, I think. Since making me do it, by the way. Okay. So can you share what you're doing?
So I graduated with my MBA in May.
Here.
So there was an offer to all students for a talent competition that they do. And I decided, what do I have to lose? I'm going to throw in my hat. And I sent in a video audition, the song, and I got picked for the second audition, and then I got picked. So I am one of 5 finalists to sing at their largest fundraising event at a gala, a black tie event. If I win, I would have won tuition for a full year of tuition, books, and fees to NSU, but since I don't need it, I can give it away.
Wow.
So my kids have said no. Hopefully they don't come back and say, I changed my mind. But at this point, my plan is to give it to Sainsbury Student Group.
Could we hear a sample?
Right now, technically, it's not supposed to be announced yet, so I'm gonna land sorry. No, but that's okay. There's gonna be social media, so I went last week for a video interview and photo shoot and yeah, so she's saying I like to work at the radar.
Oh, so you sang for them in Canada, which one?
There's a bigger audience and the camera is on, but
So the ticket, so here's the deal. It is an audience pick. The tickets are $175 a piece. And so if you would like to purchase a ticket, we need to pack the audience so I could possibly win. We'll make it worth it while. Yeah.
so both you should go.
Very cool.
Call me out.
It's going to be your own SBA, but you could go. I don't know, we'll talk about it later.
They here to represent us well, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bo.
Oh, you're such a trooper. We appreciate it.
I'm in it.
All right, any other announcements?
Yeah, I got an announcement. Sand Springs FFA shooting team had their fundraiser last weekend. And they had 13 high school teams come on Friday in freezing cold weather. And gosh, I can't remember who won. Had a great turnout. The Sand Springs kid won high overall.
Nice.
So we got right. And then Saturday was the collegiate adult division of the competition. And my team won. All I wanted to do was beat Sammy's team, and we did. And we did.
Sammy's precious, by the way.
He is.
You're,
That before.
you're impressed.
I've heard that before. No, it was a good fundraiser and, the prizes were donated, so they didn't have to pay for the prize. And then the Sand Spring Sportsman's Club, which I belong to, donated all the clay costs. So basically, all the entry fee for the FFA team was pure profit.
Nice.
So we had a good turnout. We're looking to expand it, and we're gonna do one in September in the fall, because I guess according to Randy, the FFA is really busy in the spring with all the shows and everything. So we're gonna move it to the fall, and then we're gonna open it up maybe a 3-day deal instead of just 2 days. And this time, he only invited a select few schools from the northeast and southeast, and he's gonna go ahead and open up to the whole state. We'll see how many we can get, but really good turnout, and it was a lot of fun. That's super cool. There you go. So,
Congratulations on all of that. It's good. All right, well, I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Nugget.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Call me mid-drink.
Call for a vote, please.
Wallen, Snuggle,
Aye.
Wagers, Wyman,
Aye.
Gann.
All right,